श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्साक्षात् महेश्वरः गुरुरेव जगत्सर्वं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विशेषे भवरोगिणामतिर्विद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं श्रीवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। व्यासम् अष्टनप्तहरं शक्ते पुत्रमकल्मषम्भ्राशरात्मजमन्दे गदातन्तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमः वै ब्रह्मणदेवासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Sanjaya explaining Krishna, who Krishna is, he gives derides each of Krishna's names, many of Krishna's names and their meaning, why he is called by those names. And listening to this, Dhritarastra realizes who Krishna is, and he says, I am jealous of those people who actually have eyesight, who can see Krishna Vasudeva in his body when he's in that shining body with that all those great effulgence he brings, illuminating all the directions when he as he comes across. When he comes here, and uh, I can't see him because of my blindness, but the words he's going to say here will be listened to by with respect by everybody, whether uh, those words are all auspicious to Sinjayas, that is all the those on the Pandavas side, the Drupada and Panchalas and everybody, and also it is acceptable by those desiring prosperity, faultless in every respect, and it is also uh, those anyone who does not accept those words of Krishna are doomed to death. And such a Krishna who is full of high resolve, he is eternal, possessed of unrivaled heroism, and that Yadava, that leader, that uh, destroyer of fame of every enemy, who destroys every enemy. Such a Krishna is coming here, and here Dhritarashtra kind of sings praise for Krishna. He says, "Drishtarohi kuruvastam sameta mahatmanam shatruha hanam varenyam bhavantam vacham anrusham sarupam वृष्टिश्रेष्ठं मोहयन्तं मदीयान् ऋषिं सनातनं विपश्चित्तं वाचसमुद्रं कलशं यतीनाम् अरिष्टनेमिं गरुडं सुपर्णं पतिं प्रजां भुवनस्य धाम सहस्रशीर्षं पुरुषं पुराणम् आदिमध्यान्तम् अनन्तकीर्तिं शुक्रस्य धातारम् अजं जनित्रं परं प्रवेद्य शरणं प्रपद्ये त्रैलोक्यनिर्माणकरं जनित्र देवासुराणाम् अथ नागरक्षसां नराधिपां विदिशां प्रदानम् Indrarjam Sharanam Prapadya. So he says Sharanam Prapadya, I take your uh, uh, Sharanam. That means I come to you, and he mentally he worships Krishna here. Again, so he praises Krishna with different names and different things. The chief of Vrishnis, the word full of the full of kindness, and he's going to bring fascination to all the Kauravas who is here with his words. And I put in your hands the eternal one, the Rishi, that is Narayana Rishi. He is having full knowledge of Atma Jnana. And he is easily attainable by all the rishis. And he is beautiful and is the destroyer of all the creature. He is the creator. He is having 1,000 heads, Srashesha. He is the destroyer of everything. He is the ancient one, Puranam, and he is the one without beginning, middle, or end, Adi Madhyanta Shun. Okay, and he is the cause of everything. He is the Armon one, and he praises him like this. Okay, the one who protects all the devatas, asuras, nagas, rakshasas, everybody, the one who creates everything, and who is the most learned person of all the people, and he is the younger brother of Indra. Who is younger brother of Indra? Anyone know? Younger brother of Indra. We learned this in Adi Parva. Adi Aditi's sons. Among them, Indra is one of them, and after Indra was born, Vishnu. Vishnu is Vamana. He was born as Vamana Rupa, right? So he is the Vishnu, and Vishnu is Indra's younger brother. He is one of the Aditya, right? So that's why he's a younger brother of Indra. So Dhritarashtra here sings Krishna's praise and kind of worships him. But again, this is the worship like most of us do, right? So we are still attached to all the evil things, and Dhritarashtra is still attached and he's still thinking about his sons. He's purely offering these prayers to Krishna with the he's scared because Sanjay explains all that greatness of Krishna, who actually he is. He is Narayana himself. So when Sanjay explains in front of Vyasa that this is who Krishna is, and he's going to come here and try to negotiate peace, if he's going to come here, Dhritarashtra gets scared, right? That time he starts singing praise of and Krishna. Uh, Even though his words are saying mentally, he's still attached to this word. Okay, he's his son. He's attached to that greed and uh, of his kingdom and his sons and everything. That's still there. Okay, he's not pure in his heart. On the other hand, when Sanjaya said, we looked at it last time, when Dhritarashtra asked him, how do you know Krishna who he is? He says that I do not have any attachment or anything, right? I'm pure. And that's why I see him. On the other hand, Dhritarashtra says, I cannot see when Krishna comes here because I'm blind. So Dhritarashtra is blind from physically is blind, but also is mentally also is blind. He cannot think. He's still in that uh, desires, attachment, and everything. Even though in his mouth he's praising Krishna, like most of us do, right? So we do prayers and things, but back of our mind, it's all full of desires and wants and whatever we want, right? So our mind is distracted by it. It's not fully focused on Krishna. It is not pure, and that's the difference. So that's why Dhritarashtra is blind. He cannot see. So when we say blind here, he cannot see. He is still in that ignorance. He cannot see. So Dhritarashtra praises Krishna like this when Sanjaya says he is coming. So we'll look at what happens when Krishna comes next. So that section of the Mahabharata that is called Bhagavat Yana Parma. So Bhagavan uh, making a journey, travel. So it is that Parva, that's what starts. So it starts with Janamejaya asking when Sanjaya left Pandava's camp and returned back to Kauravas, what did my grandparents, grandsires, what did they do? What did the Pandavas do? Tell me everything because I want to hear those things. So Janamejaya asked this. So hope everyone remembers who Janamejaya is because it's been quite some time since we heard about Janamejaya, right? And then Vaishampayana responds to him all the events that took place. Okay, so Vaishampayana says that when Sanjaya has gone, Yudhishtira addresses Krishna, saying, "You you are very much devoted to your friends. Now the time has come for the friend to show their true friendship. So you have been always our friend, but now show your true friendship because depending on you, we are in this season of distress. Only you can save us. There is nobody else that can do. Duryodhana having assembled such a huge strength, he is asking with his pride. He is asking. He's preparing for this war. You are the one always protecting Yadavas and others. Now you also need to protect Pandavas from this great danger, and that's why Pandavas also deserve your protection. So protect us. So Yudhishthira asks Krishna's protection here, and Krishna says, "Tell me what you actually want to say. You're not just asking for protection. Tell me what you want. What do you want me to do?" So he kind of says, okay, I hear you. Tell me what you want. It's kind of asking Yudhishthira to directly tell him what it is, what is in his mind. And Yudhishthira then responds saying that you heard everything what Dhritarashtra's intentions are, and Sanjay has narrated whatever Sanjay said here is what Dhritarashtra wanted him to convey. Because Sanjay is such a virtuous person, he's not going to make up his own words. He came here as a messenger, and he delivered only the thing. He came as an envoy, and he delivered only the things that Dhritarashtra wanted him to do. Because he knows that if he makes up his own words and says something that Dhritarashtra did not want him to say, then that's a huge sin, and such a messenger, such an envoy, needs to be killed. So Sanjay knows that, and that's why he has told what he said is in Dhritarashtra's heart, that greed, that sinful, in that sinful heart of Dhritarashtra, whatever is there, is been heard. Dhritarashtra only want to make peace, but does not want to give our kingdom back. So Yudhishtira says that at Dhritarashtra's command, we spent 12 years in the forest and the 13th year in concealment, and we did everything that he asked us to do. And we did not deviate from the vows, the promise that we made. All the Brahmanas that were with us know all these things, but still Dhritarashtra is now still unwilling to do his duties, observe his Kshatriya dharma, and he is not giving us kingdom back. So purely because his affection to his wicked son, and Duryodhana, by that greed and Duryodhana's that counsel that he hears, he is not going to give everything. So that's why Krishna, I'm unable to maintain my family, mother and friend. So this is Yudhishthira, the king who did a Rajasuya sacrifice, is saying that I'm unable to maintain my mother and friends. So he is in such a situation where he is not a king and he cannot maintain the people that's coming there. We heard this previously as well, right? So as a Kshatriya, his duty is to protect everybody and then look after them and then do sacrifices and things. But if he's not in that position, he cannot do all those things. He cannot feed those brahmanas and all those kind of things. So that's what he says. So is it having the king of Kashi, Panchalas, Drupada and others, the Chedis, Matsyas, and everybody here, as I have all of them as my allies, but you are my protector. So look at the difference here. So Yudhishthira is saying, looking at everybody that assembled there, Kashi king, Drupada with his sons, Chedis king, Matsya, Virata and his brothers, and everybody else assembled there to say that we are going to support you in this war. 7 Akshoni of those people as army assembled there. But Yudhishthira looks at them as all of them as allies, but the only person who is going to protect him is Krishna. So he says to Krishna in front of everybody that you are my protector, right? So that's the devotion he has. And he says that you are my protector, and I asked for 5 villages, Avisthala, Rukasthala, Makandi, Varanavarat, and any other village as a 5th one. So, but even that was not given to us by Dhritarashtra. That Duryodhana, again, he having control over everything, still wants more. So Yudhishthira here says that the person who actually brought up in a respected family, who covets the possession of others, that such a person, having that greed of his, that destroys his intelligence. And once the intelligence is destroyed, that buddhi is destroyed, then shame is lost. That person is not ashamed of anything. And once that shame is loss of shame, it results in diminution of virtue. So that person's virtue suffers. And once the virtue suffers, he loses all the prosperity. And from that prosperity loss, that person ruins the person entirely, that individual entirely, because poverty is the person's death. So Yudhishthira here explains what is like being in poverty. Okay, so he says, I cannot feed my family. When he says he cannot feed family, it is not literally that. It actually means he cannot feed the brahmanas in thousands and hundreds and thousands. He used to feed when he was in Indraprastha, right? So, or the people that come for asking for his help and all those things he cannot do. So that's what he means here. So he says that poverty is death. So when relatives, friends, even brahmanas, everybody give up on the person who does not have wealth, just like birds do not go to the tree which does not bear any fruits or flowers. So that just like that, the brahmanas, friends, everybody give up on the person who is poor, who does not have prosperity, who does not have wealth. And such a person is like a dead person for all the relatives and things like that. And my situation is also like that. Uh, Without wealth, nobody will come to me. Even brahmanas do not come to me asking for things. He quotes Shambhara saying that uh, there is no condition of life that could be more distressful than the one always having anxiety of saying that I have no meal today, or what I'm going to cook tomorrow, what will be tomorrow, right? So such an anxiety if person has because he does not have enough wealth and he is suffering in poverty, that person such a anxiety and that's more distressful than anything else. And the wealth is the highest virtue. So having wealth is the virtue. Again, careful here. Yudhishthira focuses here on the wealth as the supreme thing, but then again he says the wealth is the virtue. Okay, so dharma, because accumulation of wealth is not for personal pleasure, it is for maintaining the dharma, his duties. Okay, which is to feed the brahmanas, do the sacrifices, and those things. For that he need wealth. Okay, he's not asking for wealth to enjoy himself, his own pleasures. Okay, so that's why he says wealth is the highest virtue. So if you don't have wealth, that virtue is diminished for him. And everything, because everything depends on the wealth, and having that wealth, those people who have the wealth are said to live, but on the other hand, those who are in poverty are more than like they are dead people. And if a person robs another of his wealth, then the person who actually got robbed, that person actually just did not lose his wealth, but also he loses his virtue, his profit, his pleasure, everything he loses. And that's what happened to me. So by Duryodhana taking away all the wealth, he robbed everything. He robbed the virtuous things I might have done. He destroyed all the pleasure and everything. So here, Yudhishthira again continues and he says that some men, when overtaken by poverty, they choose death. Others remove from all the cities and everything, go to forest. They live there. Others become sannyasis. They uh, go from place to place and they don't have anything to do and they become sannyasi, give up on everything. So again, for the on the other hand, some people just to acquire wealth, they do all the things that in normal circumstances one might not do. Okay, we looked at this back in beginning of Parva as well, right? So when we were discussing whether wealth or virtue or desire or which is important and all these kind of things, when at that time we were looking and Yudhishthira was saying similar things, right? People do anything for acquiring the wealth, and parting that wealth is difficult. So when he was talking about charity, Markandeya also says the same thing, right? So in Markandeya Parva. So we look here, Yudhishthira says that wealth, for the sake of wealth, people do all sort of work, and they even do the work and work for their own enemies. So just for the sake of wealth, and they become servants of their enemies. So a person in poverty is more distressful. Uh, is distressful to him than death itself, because wealth is the cause of all the virtue and pleasure. So natural death of the person is normally considered as eternal path, because it happens to everybody. Natural death comes to everybody, but the death that's coming from poverty, that means the suffering that's coming from poverty, is the worst of the one. The man who is born in a rich family not much distressed, but having possessed all type of great wealth and everything. But if he has been deprived of his prosperity and wealth, he becomes poor. That person's distress is too much and to take handle for him. And that's been the situation for me. Tell me, what should I do? Uh, so he says again to Krishna that uh, even such a person who is in poverty, scriptures also cannot help because he cannot focus on those things. And such a person gets sometimes get very angry with his people. He then tries to do untoward things to other his well wishers and others. He always in anger, he loses his senses, and with his senses clouded, he starts practicing evil things. And that such a person, sinful person, he contributes to the fusion of castes. So by that mean, he uh, has he results in sinful marriages and other things. Then that such a fusion of cash and having things, it will lead to hell. And that's the foremost of the all the worst of the sinful actions that one could do. So it's all result of the poverty. But after some time, if that person is not awakened by uh, the wisdom, the shastras and things, if he's not awakened by that, he does not realize that he's doing all these wicked things, sinful things, then uh, he will certainly go to hell. But if he is awakened by wisdom, then he will certainly can be saved. So when wisdom, one gets that knowledge, or one starts thinking about that uh, sinful things one is doing, such man's attention turns to scriptures. And when he learns from that shastras, he by the aid of that, his virtues increase, and then shame becomes his ornament. So even though poverty he cannot feed and things like that, even though he's shameful of that, he's still proud of that because he does not have anything to feed anybody. Okay, and such a shame becomes again stops him from doing sinful things. Previously, when he was poor, he used to think that he cannot feed and he cannot have the pleasures and things like that. He used to do all the evil things, right? But now he realizes that those are the sinful things he should not be doing. So he still, through the aid of scripture shastras, he follows the virtuous path, and through that virtuous path, his prosperity increases. And once the prosperity increases, he truly becomes a man. So again, Yudhishthira gives two paths here. So he says that virtuous one is in prosperity, in poverty, he struggles a lot, and that person is like a red person, and that leads to a lot of wicked things an individual can do, all the evil deeds. But then, if that person follows the shastras, and through that shastras, he gains control and understands what he is in, and then that virtue increases. Because of that virtue, he his prosperity increases, and then that leads to that. So one again that is always virtuous, having mind under controls, always acts after deliberation, and never good inclines towards unrighteousness things, never engages in any act that is sinful, and such a person is devoted to virtuous things. So again, one that is without shame, sense is shame or sense is like a is like a neither a man or woman. Is a shameless person, and such a person is incapable of earning religious merit. Uh, but on the other hand, the one that has shame, uh, by shame here means one that is following the virtuous things and who understands the situation and things, and such a person gratifies devatas, pitrus, and even his own atma he satisfies, and through that he attains moksha. So, which is the highest of all the virtuous people. So, Yudhishthira then says to Krishna that you have seen in your own eyes all the things that happened to us, are deprived of kingdom. We lived years in the forest. Uh, we cannot, and he says, we cannot lawfully abandon the kingdom that's ours. So our first effort is to should be to work with Kauravas to make sure that both Kauravas and us live united in peace and prosperity. That's what we should be doing. And otherwise, we have to kill all the Kauravas and regain the kingdom and things like that. When we have all the relatives and everybody we know they are on both sides, and this slaughter of all these Kshatriyas is very sinful. What is there good? What good can come from these battles? He asks, and then he says, this Kshatriya's duty itself is sinful, because we have taken uh, in this varna as a Kshatriyas, we have to do this, but our duty itself is sinful. Uh, Shudras, their life is done, served as a service. Vaishyas in trade, Brahmanas by begging, and but while we Kshatriyas, we live by slaughter, killing one another. A Kshatriya kills a Kshatriya like a fish killing a fish, dog preying on a dog. So that's what we do. And Yudhishtira hates here, uh, censors the Kshatriya life he's got, the Kshatriya duty he has to follow. But again, if you look back, this again, Yudhishthira has been prepared for all this situation throughout the 12 or 13 years they have to spend away, right? So in Vanaparva, we learned that Markandeya coming and him narrating a story of a fowler, right? So that fowler story expectedly explains why he was killing the animals for his survival, for his life, right? So why he's selling the meat. So again, because that was his duty. So even though it is sinful, that is his duty. He was doing that. So Markandeya explains that story again. These kind of things, even though Yudhishthira here says that Kshatriya duty uh, is the wretched one, and he has to kill others to survive and things like that. The practice itself is like that. He is aware from those knowledge he has got previously, right? So Yudhishthira again continues and he explains about the consequence of such a war. It is like uh, whatever you do in this war, there is not going to be any any outcome that one can predict. So anybody could kill anybody. Sometimes one man may kill many hundreds, but on the other hand, many hundred may together kill one person. A coward may kill a hero, but on the other hand, a hero uh, and that coward may become attain a lot of fame just by killing a hero, right? So, but it is true that both parties in a war cannot win success, and both cannot be defeated as well. So the loss and victory is there for one side only. One side gets lost, another one will be victory, and the one that uh, runs away from that battlefield loses both his life and fame. So because running away from battlefield is not uh, as the rightful thing. So it says that under any circumstance, whether it is victory or loss, the war itself is a sinful thing. Sinful thing. So again, as if you look at the outcome of that war, when the one person strikes another one, whether it is victory or defeat, for a person it's the same, because even if you think I win the war, I still would lose a lot of people on my side. It is not that I might survive at the end, but I still would lose anything. Similarly, if I lose the war, that's also not the right thing. So when the victors also, they are reduced in strength, they probably will lose their sons, brothers, and a lot of things, and they have to live the rest of their life in a different form to what they've went to the war, right? So this is what Yudhishthira thinks about the consequences of war here, and he says that after attaining such a victory in that battle, especially in a situation where he is in now, after attaining that victory, after killing everybody, all the enemies, and losing people on his side and things like that, finally repentance comes to his heart. So that survivor of that war will not be happy. So victory, even though in some cases, even though victory attained, it creates animosity because the defeated person lives in sorrow. And that person always looks for an opportunity to attack and regain. So the only way to stop this thing is completely destroy the enemy. So not just defeat, but completely destroy so no one survives on the other side. So if we are doing that, then again, that's what he has to do. So Yudhishthira here says that if the only way to do this is to destroy completely, not just defeat, like for example in Virata War, what happened, where Arjuna defeated everybody, but did not kill anyone, right? But what Yudhishthira is saying is, if that happens, the enmity continues, and once as long as that is there, no, neither person, whether the one that is who won, in this case Arjuna in the Virata War, he won everything, he won against everybody, but the Kauravas who lost, the battle still continues because the one who lost still want to win, right? And the victors always looking on their shoulders to see when they are going to attack. So this hostility always destroys the sleep, and the misery takes over. This increases the anxiety in the heart. So just like somebody sleeping with a snake, so it never gets a sleep, right? So you don't know when in the same room when the snake is there, you never get a sleep because you don't know when the snake is going to come and bite. So such is the situation, especially Yudhishthira says that here, the people on the other hand, if we are looking at exterminating the entire race on the other side, the people on the other side are his own relatives. So that's why peace has to be tried first. So if a peace is obtained uh, by any means, that's the best thing than going into a war. So even if uh, giving up the kingdom is one has to do, peace has to be attained, then we need to look at that. Giving up the entire kingdom or taking only having a part of it, again Yudhishthira is asking for only 5 villages here, right? So that he can maintain what his duty as a kshatriya, that's all he's asking. So if that can be attained itself, then that itself is better. So even if that means a humiliation, he does not get his Indraprastha back, he gets only 5 villages, that itself is fine, he says, even that's grateful. So that's why we should try peace and conciliation. But if all methods of conciliation fails, then terrible results are going to follow. Uh, it is like a dogs contest where dogs come to each other wagging their tails, and then they start barking, and then one barks and the other one barks, and then they start barking at each other angrily, and then they start fighting. It is like that. So this is like that. So where we can get into continuous battle, and that's why one again should look for all the ways to conciliation. Yudhishthira says that we have always respected Dhritarastra and did everything that he has ordered us to do. And the person, again, we are obedient to him, but he never looked after it. He never cares for us. And what should I do? What should be done by me? Tell me all about what should I do. Listening to this, Krishna says that I will go to Kuru's assembly for you. I will go there without sacrificing your interest, which is you clearly stated that you want to maintain your duty as a kshatriya, right? So without sacrificing your interest, I will try to obtain the peace if I can. And if I do that, Krishna says that such an action by me will be produce great merits for me, religious merits for me. So this is very strange. So Krishna himself, Bhagavan himself, is acting because he's taken birth as a man. He's speaking as if he's accumulating merits, religious merits, right? So he's that I'm going to accumulate a lot of punya by doing such a thing. So when he says that Yudhishthira says that I don't want you to go there because I know Duryodhana how he is, how wicked he is, and his actions I know. So all the Kshatriyas are assembled there. I don't want you to go there. If anything happens, then nothing in this world, whether it's the kingdom or the entire earth under my things, or even all the devatas, if they come and please me, that will not make me happy. Because if something happens to you, that's the nothing else will make me happy. And then Krishna says that I know uh, Dhritarashtra's son Duryodhana how he is, uh, but uh, I will also not let him do anything. Even if all the Kurus come united together, they will not be able to do anything, any harm to me. And if they do anything like that, I will destroy entire Kurus in at the very moment. I will destroy anything. That's why I will go there, even if I'm not able to make peace, conciliation, and get stop this war. At least I will show that the blame is not yours. People should not say that Yudhishtira started this war. Okay, tomorrow history, when everyone looks at it, should not say that Yudhisthira started this war. We should make every effort to stop it. And if still we fail, then there is this path anyway we have to do. Right. So Krishna says that, and Yudhisthira then agrees, saying that, okay, so I hope for your safe return. Do in such a way that you do not neglect our interest at that time, but also make sure that Duryodhana understands things. And I know I don't have to teach you how to speak and things. You know everything. So Yudhishthira agrees with Krishna's proposal to travel. Then when so again, Krishna says that I have heard from Sanjaya and also I heard from you. So I'm going to do what is right. Again, your heart is righteousness, thanks dharma, it follows, and no uh, enmity towards Kauravas. Again, one that is obtained without war is great value to you. Uh, Long life of brahmacharya is not duty of kshatriya, which is you are following. So, and again, kshatriya should not live on by begging, and victory or death in the battle is the great thing for kshatriya. That's why I will go and do these things. So Krishna explains that uh, they're making you wear and suffer all these 12 in 12 and 1 year, all these things, Bhishma, Drona, Vidura, and all the Brahmanas, all of them, all the Kauravas, Duryodhana, everybody defeated you on that dice game, and then they made you suffer all these things. I remember all that. So, but you still show compassion towards them. And also, he says that uh, the speeches Duryodhana made in that assembly with all those Brahmanas and everything in that assembly, that also is there. So, Pandavas have nothing on this earth. Their name and lineage is extinct, and things like that. The laugh he made, that's also there. Krishna also reminds him of the Dushasana's act against Draupadi when Bhishma, Drona, and everybody is there. He called Draupadi cow. He called it, and you restrained your brothers. So all these things have happened. I know all these things, and when the kings with brahmanas and all those things did not uh, applaud this action of Duryodhana and Dushasana and others, that itself is a death to him, because if elders and seniors uh, censure you, then that itself is equal to death. So that's why Duryodhana is kind of dead, but he has no shame, and that's why he's not feeling it. I will go there. Going there, I will do everything my ability to sacrifice without sacrificing your interest. I will make sure that this war can be stopped, and I will do everything for that purpose. And so, with that, Krishna says that he will go towards Hastinapura. We will stop there. Any